Hello. Today I've been meaning to do this breakdown for a little while. I'm going to break down all the major players when it comes to Eve currently at the moment, when it comes to other companies, why everything's delayed. That's gonna be the reason of this video is why has the Spectrum been delayed so much? Is Eve telling the truth? Like, why won't they come out to their customers and tell them these things? I don't know. But this is the best breakdown I can come up with. So my background, to begin with, is in project management. So my whole career, I've been dealing with, oh hey, I need to get a thing built, a device, and I need to work with multiple vendors. I need to work through multiple project management. I need to get all this stuff figured out, and I need to make sure all my people I'm working with stay on time, and then obviously make sure I provide a product to an end customer in a timely manner. So I'm relatively somewhat versed in all this type of stuff. So that's why I think I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on here. But yeah, let's go and dive right into it. So um, these are all the major companies that I know of. There probably are a few other ones out there, but we'll break down what each one does to begin with. So obviously we have Eve at the beginning. So Eve is our shining star. They're the ones who take all the money. They're the ones who work with you, the customer. They're the one who have the community. They market their devices. Their devices are currently the Spectrum and the Eve V tablet. I think this is the old one, but the new one is going to be the same way. And then from there, we can start breaking down everything. So when Eve launched their original tablet back in 2015, I think the T1 tablet, they worked with a little company called Imdor. They're a company out of China. They specialize in building Windows tablets. That's all this company does. This company makes excellent Windows tablets. That's all they do. So Eve managed to find Imdor, and with Imdor, they produced the V. And whenever they produced the V, that's kind of what all happened. So the first V, what basically happened was Eve. There's four. I guess I could have thrown Fortress up here, but let's not get into that. Basically, Eve directly or through other things took your customer money, gave it to Imdor to build a product. I think Sharp's involved too with some displays back in the past, but I don't know if they're still involved. But basically, Imdor is the one who manufactured the V, who provide any spare parts you need come from Imdor. So Imdor is kind of the company that actually builds the thing, And this is very true for all companies. Not many companies that you know of actually make their own stuff. Like when it comes to like a Dell or an Asus or any sort of major big brands you hear of, EVGA, like most of their stuff they hash a lot of that stuff out to other companies. So this isn't out of the ordinary. This is pretty normal in how companies work. So when working with Imdor on the first V, one thing Imdor decided to do was to create XStation, which XStation is kind of Imdor's version of Eve, kind of a premium brand of creators, and we're going to take community input and thinkers and hackers, and it's whatever. It's kind of a bunch of buzzwords to get people to buy their crap. So that's kind of what these two companies are. These two companies are basically the same, with Imdor acting as a branch. I'm sorry, XStation acting as a branch of Imdor, and then Eve interacting with both these groups. I think Eve is interacting more with XStation, especially since the Spectrum started. But basically, Eve is working to these groups to build the V tablets. So the reason why you know this is that you can see XStation. I mean, obviously, XStation has been excellent in providing V updates. If you want updates on the new V tablet, if you care at all, go to XStation's website. They're churning out updates nonstop. So to me, the V is not gonna have any problems whatsoever because Imdor is involved. Imdor knows what the fuck they're doing. It's just a fucking Windows tablet from last year. Like it's nothing special they're doing. The new V, I don't foresee any issues with. But with Eve, they'll find a way. Don't you worry. So that's the easy part of the companies. Now the difficult parts. So we know from the very beginning, when Eve started on their Spectrum project, they found, or started announcing they were working with this company called Luhai. Luhi, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. So we know that Eve started working with I'm going to call them LHC. And then obviously they're using LG's panels. So similar to the Imdor XStation thing, LHD is a subsidiary of LG. I don't know if they're actually a subsidiary or there's like a contractor, like a very high contract, but you can find a lot of official LG documentation that has LHD listed as like, oh, hey, if you need a vendor, go to them. So my guess on this is that Eve, when searching for panels, reached out to some of the big ones. I don't remember off the top of my head, AUO, Interlux, and LG. So they probably reached out to LG, who then said, we don't build monitors. We just brand them. Go talk to this company. So that's, or possibly Imdor found them. I'm not sure, but I don't think this link exists just because there seems to be a lot of tension between XStation and LHD, or Imdor XStation and LHD. So I don't think this link is proper. I think What I'm guessing happened. Eve reached out to LG. LG said, "Go deal with these guys." So these two companies are one and the same as well. So with again these two, I'm gonna put these back and forth because I think LHD is a standalone company. They don't rely solely on LG, but they do a lot of LG panels. And you can see this if you go to their website. It shows LHD builds a lot of Dells, HPs. They just build all kinds of other companies' products. And that's why if you watch some of the Eve videos, we're like, oh, look at our monitor factory. It's not their monitor factory, it's LHD. And it just shows them, hey, they're building. Again, LHD and Imdor. I should pick a different color. I'm sorry. Let's pick like a red. Fuck it. Okay. These two companies are very similar in the fact that they both build in devices for consumers. They build a device, box it up, and then they slap someone else's logo on it, and they deal with all the marketing, the warranty, all that crap. So, they just simply provide a product. They're a factory. They build things. That's all they do. So, why was the Spectrum so delayed? What happened? Obviously, I don't know for sure how all this went down. I mean, I'm just an outside customer. My guess, when Eve reached out to LG, LG said, okay, here's our internal roadmap. We're going to have, by the end of 2020, we're going to have, or mid-2020, we're going to have the 4K panels, and then we're going to have the 240 hertz panels. And, this was, I believe this was LG's internal roadmap to have the panels done. That's where the problem comes in. So I think when Eve announced the Spectrum in fucking January of 2020, basically they were being told by LG, hey, we're going to have the physical panels ready for Q3 for the 4K and ready for probably late Q3, Q4 for the 240. And you can confirm this by going through TFT Display. They do a lot of breakdowns where they reach out to me. They reach out to industry. Industry provides them roadmaps. And their roadmap in 2019 lined up with these dates perfectly. So, you have Eve, who went out of their way to go ahead and announce the Spectrum release date as Q3 2020. And I believe this was very, very foolish, reckless, and stupid of Eve because all they did is went off LG's word. I don't think they got any confirmation from LHD or any other vendors involved in this project, which is why the Spectrum is delayed, is because Eve made a very, very stupid, chose very stupidly to do this. So, why do I think that? So, on the recent repair video Rob uploaded over at Eve, a new name popped up, MStar. I saw this on the boot logo of the monitor. So, MStar, if you go do some quick research on them, they are wholly owned by MediaTek. MediaTek is one of the big players right now in providing HDMI 2.1 chips. So, similar to how LG displays LG provides the panels, and then LHD assembles the monitors, MediaTek provides the chips, MStar provides the firmware at least, and possibly the boards as well. So, basically, this contractor, or let's say these two companies, are working with LHD. So LHD says, hey, we need a scaler. It needs to do this. LHD doesn't know how to do that. LHD assembles stuff. LHD takes a bunch of parts, puts them together, and done with it. They ship it. That's all they do is put things together. So I believe LHD is working with MStar directly, or probably directly, and they are the ones that are doing the firmware. Remember, all the problems this year have been blamed on firmware. The reason for that being is that I think Eve, when reaching out to this group, either never asked or never listened when they said firmware was going to be done by someone else. So, what you have is the MediaTek chips. There's been a few reports that have come out, like I think in like home audio receivers. The MediaTek chips are having issues. They're having issues with supply. They're having issues with meeting the specs they advertise. Also, I just realized when I was scribbling about cameras right here, I should have put a little blocker, but we'll figure it out. MediaTek is having issues supplying HDMI 2.1 chips, which is delaying MStar. All right, let's do red in this one. So this is delayed, which is that's not an A, which is delaying MStar, which is delaying LHD, which is delaying Eve. So I believe this is the problem. And the reason for that being is that just again based off of what's out there, is that MediaTek, these are the people that are ultimately delaying the spectrum. However, Eve is not admitting this. Eve is still pretending like everything is fine, everything is going to ship, even though I, as an outsider with zero company knowledge, can very clearly see how all this stuff is laid out. They, a company of 10, 15 employees, can't, for whatever reason, or they choose to willfully ignore these red flags and just continue to try to sell crap to you, the consumer. So, whatever the point is, whoever's behind what, this is kind of how everything is laid out. So, when your spectrum is built, it's being sold. It's an Eve spectrum, but it's being assembled by LHD using LG panels, running MStar firmware with a MediaTek chip in it. And all these companies have to jive perfectly in order for you to get a spectrum. And if they're not, whether because Eve doesn't know what the hell they're doing, which is very likely, or whatever, that is why the spectrum has been so massively delayed and possibly will be continued to be delayed. So I think if you read an update, like Eve said, oh, we have more engineers working on it. Eve doesn't have a fucking engineer. Eve doesn't know anything technical. They are a marketing agency. That's all they do is exist to sell you crap. They don't build anything. They don't know the technicalities of anything. They don't know a goddamn thing about what they're doing. All they do is they're just contracting stuff out, and their contractors are failing their timelines, and instead of admitting that, they're lying, saying, oh yeah, everything's hunky-dory, great. So, I don't know. I want to get this video out because I want to try to lay all this out myself. So, hopefully this is messy enough so you can understand. But basically, the spectrum will keep getting delayed. The spectrum, I will, if anybody's willing to make this bet, I will bet $100 that people will have their V tablets before all 3 models of the Spectrum ship. I will put $100 on that right now to every single person who hits me up on this, because the V and the Spectrum are completely different, separate development paths. Like I said, if this company is fighting LHG to get updates, there is something wrong on this. And you can look at the whole industry. There's no HDMI 2.1 monitors by anyone. 2.1's been out for not over a year, but 6 to 8 months in consoles, over a year in TVs, and monitors can't figure it out. Something is wrong. And Eve is pretending like there's not, and they're just going to start taking money, and they're not going to have shit to give you. As for the Spectre, or as for the V, it's fucking tablet. It's a fucking tablet. MDOR just builds tablets. I don't see any issues going through this. This is a very clean-cut, smooth process. The V will be out by the end of this year. I can almost guarantee that. Spectrum, who the fuck knows? What a fucking mess. I don't know. Don't pre-order this shit. Stop buying this shit. It's so bad. Wait until it comes out. They announced today that shipping's gonna go up. People will pay. People will pay. I'm saying this right now. People will pay over $1,000 to get the 4K Spectrum, just because Eve's going to start tacking on tariffs and shipping and more crap that they don't provide that you need to buy with accessories. People will pay over $1,000 for a Spectrum when they could just go buy an LG display for $800 at Best Buy. Like, literally, the GP950 is coming out. It's going to come with the monitor, the stand, cables, a warranty, a reputable company, a vendor you can return it to that day. You get all that for $300 less. In order to get some of those things from Eve, you're going to pay $1,000, and it's going to be stupid, and people are going to pay it, and they're going to fail again like they did last time because they have zero aftermarket support or after sales support. Like, I don't know. I got to go to work. It's early. You guys have fun. Peace.